You know when your hair goes down like that and you can't see it? And he said something like, oh, like horse blinkers. And for some reason, I heard it as horse blindness. It took all of about 3 minutes until we had between us and anyone else who was listening and contributing created an illness, a disorder called horse blindness, where everything in the world was the same, but you couldn't see horses. But then we had to think like, well, how far does this go? Are there different stages of horse blindness? Like if you have just a little bit of horse blindness, maybe you can see horses, but you can't see ponies. Can you see paintings of horses? Can you see statues with horses? If you go to see a statue with a horse, are you like, Jesus, how did they get that statue to levitate? Because you can only see the person and not the horse. If you go to that huge monument in Scotland, do you just stand there wondering what the hell everyone's looking at? We were standing in the Costa getting food, and I turned to him and go, hey, if you went into Tesco during the horse meat crisis and went into like the beef section, would all the trays of mince just be empty? Someone with horse blindness from birth sees a zebra is like, wow, I've never seen something like that before. Because they can see zebras, but they can't see horses. What if you had horse blindness, but you could still hear horses? So you could hear like the sound of like hooves on stone, and you wouldn't be able to see where the horse was. So you'd have to listen. If you went to like a horse race, you'd just see a load of people levitating. Like, legs out, sitting like that, just levitating along the track.
Imagine the military potential. You could fit a sniper and a spotter inside a pantomime horse costume.
The Trojan horse potential here is enormous.
Can you see the imprint of their hooves in the grass?
Yes.
Can you see what they eat floating where their stomach should be?
Maybe.
Can you feel the horses?
Maybe,
if you
yes.
eat the invisible horse meat, does it have nutritional value?
Yes.
Is the headless horseman just the headless man?
The one guy in Troy pointing at a crowd of floating... The one guy in Troy pointing at a crowd of floating people while everyone else just lets them into the keep. If you have, like, really, really severe horse blindness, maybe you can't see anything that is supposed to be a horse. Which means if you watched Uma Musume Pretty Derby, you would not be able to see any of the characters. Because they're all horse girls. But if you had pony blindness and you watched My Little Pony, there would just be no characters except that little dragon. If you watched BoJack Horseman! Oh my god, BoJack Horseman, but BoJack Horseman is not there. It would just be BoJack Man! If someone was painting a horse, like you can't see photos of horse, if someone was painting a horse, would you be able to see all of the colours and shapes until it suddenly became recognizable as a horse and then it just, like, snapped out of existence on the canvas? You can hear the word horse, but you don't have anything to connect it to, you know? You don't have any reference point for what it is. If someone was wearing a horse mask, they would look like they had just made their head invisible. If it was, you know that, like, drawing of a horse where half of it's really detailed and the other half is just not there? Hang on. Would you be able to see the front half of this because it's not really recognizable as a horse, but you wouldn't be able to see the back legs?
I can't even begin to imagine what a centaur would look like with horse blindness.
It'd just be a floating torso. Because you'd probably be able to see the part that is still, like, recognizably kind of human, maybe. I could compose myself to talk about it now, but we were laughing so hard. We were trying to walk up the stairs of this place to get, like, a cup of tea or something, and we were doubled over trying to walk up the stairs, like, in tears laughing about fucking horse blindness. Mothman, like, fully collapsed on the stairs laughing, and I was, like, trying to compose myself, holding onto the handrail. Like, I was, like, there were tears coming out of my eyes. Would a hippogriff just be a big bird? I think you'd just see it as a big bird, yeah. If it was a unicorn, yeah, would you just see the horn? It would be like, you know what it'd be like? You know in Skyrim when you start encountering ice wraiths? And they're ice wraiths, like, I know they go and they, like, spit ice at whatever at you and you go, ha! But it would just be a load of, like, floating needles. All the Barbie horse games would just be Barbie games where you have to clean the stables all the time. Maybe we all have unicorn blindness, and maybe that's why we can't see them. Maybe Maybe that's why sometimes you get a sharp pain and you can't explain why, because you actually can't see any part of the unicorn and you're just being like gently like hit into by a unicorn who's trying to get away from wherever you are. If someone has severe horse blindness, would they be able to see the word horse? Maybe. But it would just be like complete nonsense because you still wouldn't be able to conceptualize a horse, you know? My car wouldn't work because it has no horsepower. Do you know a horse isn't 1 horsepower?
I'm thinking about the horse charge from Return of the King and how funny it would be to see all the riders flying through the air as Theoden LEDs them into battle.
Ah. Oh god, I hadn't even thought of that. Any film with horses. That part where Aragorn gets, like drags himself up onto the horse after he, like, washes up on the shore. He's just, like, dragging himself into midair and floating. Can the horse-blind people, would you be able to see glue if it was made that way?
When would the drawing become invisible?
When it becomes a horse.
Is it as soon as there is intent to draw a horse?
When it looks like a horse.
So many questions, so few horses.
Yeah, it spreads from parasites. There's like a tick. You know, like when you, if someone gets a bite from a tick, you can have like Lyme disease. Something like that. So you get a bite from a little, just like some little guy, and you can, like, there's like a 1 in 10 chance of developing horse blindness.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's horse blindness.
You can sponsor someone with horse blindness for £2 a month. You can sponsor somebody to recover from horse blindness. Call 111 111 1111 1111 and you can help a child recover from horse blindness today. The Ferrari symbol is just an empty yellow shield.
Can the human part of a centaur develop horse blindness?
Yes. For some reason. Can you see any horse Pokemon? No. You can't see a Ponyta, you can't see a Rapidash. You just created r/horse blindness! Mothman, what have we done? Mothman, what have we done? What are we responsible for here? What about a horse substitution where every time you look at a dog, you see a horse? Oh my god, that reminds me, there was a subreddit that had just like silly, would you rather X or Y forever? And one of the questions was like, would you rather, like, I don't know, unfortunate thing happen to you or not be able to tell the difference between muffins and babies?
If I come across a baby horse, a foal to be precise, am I just not seeing it? Am I seeing a muffin? Am I seeing a shimmer of a muffin?
We've gone too far. If you see a horse that's covered in a sheet, can you begin to see the shape of the unknowable? Yes, and you have like, it's real like horrors beyond your comprehension. And as soon as the sheet is moved, you just assume you have like hallucinated.
I feel like I need a cough drop. My throat feels a little.
There's like a horse blindness epidemic. You know, it's not contagious, but a load of people have gotten it, and it becomes a problem that people cannot see horses and are getting, like, injured. So what people have to start doing is putting bells on horses. Now, can you imagine how terrifying it is? Yeah, to be like, I hear the bells! The creature is coming! You can hear the sounds that the horse makes against other things. That's why you can hear the hooves. You can't always reliably hear the horse. And because the horse is attached to the bell is attached to the horse, the sound gets distorted. And it sounds like this. You're only safe from the bells if you leave heaping baskets of carrots and sugar cubes outside your door. Well, no, that's worse, because then the bells are going to come closer and closer to your house. And you're going to be like peeking out through the windows to see if anything happens, and you're gonna just see all this food like disappear, and you're gonna hear again as it goes away, you're gonna hear the so yeah, that's it. I'm done talking about horse blindness for today. I think we've covered a lot of ground. I think we covered a lot of ground today. Well, I'm not done stream. I want to do something. I would do something, I just don't know what.